Origins, home studio X, and this is a bit different. Uh, since I've been working out for over 10 years now, on and off, but over 10 years now, yeah, on and off, obviously. But there've been like whenever I've worked out in patches of like more, a year or more than a year type of thing. Recently, I've been straight working out for like 2 years. Yeah, life gets in the way a lot of times, but yeah, I've been working on and off for 10 years, and I know what works and not, right? I know which things are bro science or somehow works, and I can see how scientifically it works. And I know science of things like obviously like people like Jeff Nippard talks about it. That's the video here. How Mike Israel talks about it, like many other people like that. So it's gonna be interesting. This is like one of the newer videos he made in past year about the best and the worst back. I don't think I've watched this video, so yeah, I've been taking advice from Jeff Nippard and like other channels like that for years now. I don't think I've watched the latest videos on that. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Let's watch it.
What are the best and worst back exercises for muscle growth? Well, in this video, I'll be ranking 20 of the most popular movements on a tier list from S for super to F for fail. And at the end, I'll crown one exercise as the best of the best, raising it to S tier plus, and one as the worst of the worst, demoting it.
Okay, what is it? Did Diablo start? I think it's Diablo started this, right? Like anime Japanese style of S tier and things. I think I first encountered that in like Metal Gear Solid game. Like, what the fuck, S? Then there's S plus and S plus plus in that Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom. Like, you put balloon and like recruit them. Yeah, that's something.
It to F tier hell. And to make sure your favorite back exercise doesn't end up in F tier, it'll need to tick 3 boxes. 1, it needs to give a big stretch with high tension. If it doesn't give me a good stretch or provide high tension, it's going in F tier. No exceptions. 2, it needs to feel good. This means it doesn't cause pain and it has a smooth resistance profile. Giving a good pump and a nice mind-muscle connection wouldn't hurt either. 3, it must have a simple progression. If you can't easily add weight or reps over time.
Yeah, obviously the most of the study indicates, I mean, then again, there's not that much study, but most of the study indicates that stretch under lengthened position, right? Lower, overload under lengthened position is what grows the muscle most. It kind of makes sense because micro tears are what grows the muscle. And when you see like if you have a rubber or something like eraser or something, right, if you try to stretch it, it will develop micro tears. So it makes sense how muscle would work the similar way. If it's like completely stretched under load, it would develop that more considering anything else. It needs to feel good. That basically means your central nervous system is like getting used to it. If your CNS system is not working well with a certain movement, like it won't generate enough force, it won't do well with it, you're probably gonna get injured. So it has to feel good. And yeah, progression is important. Like if you're not progressively overloading, like you're not gonna grow. Like your body doesn't want to grow. You have to force it to grow, right? Your body is still like monkey phases, like evolutionary, like doesn't want to waste any energy into something that doesn't need. So you need to show it like, yeah, you need it by progressing.
It's getting knocked down. All right, let's get the worst out of the way. Renegade rows. These are not good for building muscle. First, they don't provide a good stretch because you'll come up solid against the floor. They don't.
I mean, look, man, most of the topics you talk about is like adding like past few percent of things, like 20% of growth, let's just say. Our body is so good at just understanding something. Like if you just move around, eventually, I don't know, even 20 years after, you're gonna get jacked probably. So if something uses back, even if you don't do it right, you're not gonna grow in 2-3 months as you would have if you done it right. But probably 5 years, 10 years from that, yeah, you're gonna get some muscle growth. You're gonna notice that. Like your body's still gonna grow even with a shitty. Obviously, that was an exaggeration with 5-10 years. I don't know the duration, but even with moving around, just moving weight around, you're probably gonna grow, right? It's the last 10-20%. That's what we're talking about here. So this is like not much of progressive overload, obviously, but yeah, you would do for such a high rep, and eventually it should grow you some back. But this is a shitty movement.
Offer maximum tension to your back because other muscles have to work so hard just to keep your balance, which makes it hard to get a good back pump. Sorry, Renegade rows are going in F tier. This is because the Renegade row is trying to combine 2 exercises into one, a plank and a dumbbell row. Planks are good for your core and rows are great for your back, but when you put them together, you end up watering down the amount of tension that your back receives. And this
I don't know about plank, man. Plank is like ab exercise is like one of the most weirded things out there. Like people do weirded shit. I don't know. They just got in their head like, oh, plank. Like isometric holds are not so great at building muscles, right? And yeah, abs are like you don't want to overgrow your abs, right? If you do it over too much, like when you cut down your fat, right? If you don't cut down your fat, I'm sorry, like if you're less fat, you still look fat or something because now you have like thicker abs and there's a fat pouch on top of that. You look really fat even though you're not. So at that point, you better be very lean, where your abs shows. Otherwise, you'll just look fat. And yeah, ab development is not usually an issue. Like do squats and things, you probably gonna grow abs that looks good. You don't want to get that like bubble gut shit, right? You're probably not gonna get bubble gut without roids, but still, like you don't want to overgrow your abs compared to any other muscle.
Same goes for other 2-in-1 combination exercises like the dumbbell row plus curl, or the dumbbell row plus press, or the dumbbell row plus kickback. This is because the smaller muscle in the pair will always be so much weaker than your back, so it'll always give out first. This leaves your back totally understimulated. These exercises will burn some calories, and they will grow the weaker muscle in the pair, but they aren't good back builders. They're all going in F tier. Okay, what about the deadlift? Well, I am a big fan of the deadlift. I think it's one of the best exercises for building total body strength. However, when we look at the criteria for a S tier back builder, it doesn't score too well. It doesn't stretch your lats or mid-back much at all. It also doesn't take your lats or traps through an active range of motion. So any tension they do receive is isometric. And I don't know about you, but deadlifts don't give me a great back pump. And while they are easy to overload, you can always add some weight or some reps.
I think deadlifts are always important for hamstrings and glutes, especially there is a one part of hamstring that you can see from the front if you flex it right. Like that works really well with the deadlift. Glutes work really well with the deadlift. But yeah, deadlift is like one of those things like it's overall builder, which anybody who's worked out long enough is probably muscular would realize is the worst thing there is because it's a systemic fatigue. You don't grow anything one well. You just try to grow everything well together. That shit never works. Your systemic fatigue is gonna rise to the level like you need higher recovery time. You could have done that with like machines or something else and could have grown much better. But yeah, your CNS system basically trains better at deadlift. So in real world scenarios, you could make an argument that deadlifts are better if you need to, I don't know, if you work on a farm, you want to lift something heavy, deadlifts are good. But yeah.
That's usually because your hamstrings and glutes are getting stronger, not necessarily your back. As a back builder, the deadlift is going in C tier. I'm not putting it in D or F tier just because it will beef up your spinal erectors and thicken up that lower part of your back. But as a pure back hypertrophy exercise, I do think there are far better options. Now, if this were a lower body day, I'd probably put the deadlift in A or B tier, especially if it's done with a well-controlled negative. And since the above the knee rack pull is basically just a deadlift with less range of motion, it's going in D tier. Except, since it often damages gym equipment, hogs plates, and unless your name is Bro Jeff, feels pretty terrible, I'm gonna go ahead and move it to F.
That's the worst, like it doesn't stretch anything. That's like rack pulls, I don't know why people do that. It's not that good for your traps because the way you're moving it, yeah, it's just, better go to the leg, calf raise machine and just do the shrugs overloaded. That's just better than anything else. Like this rack pulls is not gonna work anything else. Like you're literally doing the worst portion you could. It's not overloading any length and position of any muscle. Rack pulls are the worst. I see every time like, why the fuck are you doing that, man?
Tier. Okay, you're probably ready for some better exercises. So let's start with the wide grip pull-up. It offers high tension throughout the range of motion and a deep stretch at the bottom. Man. It feels good, and you should get a nice back pump. However, pull-ups do have a tricky resistance profile. They feel very easy at the bottom and very hard at the top. This makes for not the smoothest feel. That said, they are very good for progression, as you can easily add 1 rep each workout or add some load with a weight belt. They also look cool, and
I've never found pull-ups to be hard at the top. But then again, like, I don't remember at the start, but by the time I become too strong, where I can just do like 15 plus pull-ups easily with my weight, control, proper dead hang, stretch at the bottom and do 15 or so. Yeah, I mean, top part is not an issue. You can just hang there for decent enough time if you're that strong. The problem is you're not strong enough to lift your body weight. Do that assisted, so it's not that hard on top, right? And it's good. It really stretch out your lat. But it's really important to not just hang like a child. Have a slight lean back because that will pull your lats much better. Your lats should pull better at a like childlike position. but the way your body works trying to pull, right? Yeah, it's not better that way. So if you're doing something like a, like, what is it called? Cable pull downs, right? Pull down machine. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You don't have to lean back. You can just do the childlike pose, and yeah, your lats would pull. But with a specific pull up, the way your body is like working, you need to have certain back movement to your, lats to be properly stretched.
Really respect pull-up strength. Wide grip pull-ups are going in A tier. Neutral grip pull-ups have all the upsides of wide grip pull-ups with slightly more lat emphasis. They're also going in A tier. Chin-ups
I don't like that because I consistently had injuries in my what the fuck is it called? I forgot the name of it. Brachioradialis. There you go. I constantly have injury in brachioradialis because I feel like this is the most overused muscle there is. If you use anything with your arm, if you do rows, it's gonna be used. If you do close pull-ups, it will be used. If you do any kind of like curling, but you do it it's gonna use that. So I have too many overused injury when it comes to brachioradialis, and that really fucks things up. It doesn't heal that fast. You have to properly, completely stop working out for a month if you want to heal it, and I don't want to do that. So when you don't like it, it took me 3 months for it to feel like, yeah, it's probably healed. And for that 3 months, like, I could barely lift anything when it comes to curling or anything, right? I went from 60 kilos to like 20 kilos. Like, are you kidding me? 60 kilo proper, like, easy bar curl to like 20 kilos. Anything more, it just start to hurt. I'm glad they didn't fuck up my, like bicep. Like, it barely did anything. So you can retain muscle very easily. That's the point. But yeah, it's just like you have to look out for that.
With a palms up grip, shift some back tension to your biceps. So while they are still a great upper body exercise, I'm putting them in B tier for the back specifically. Next, pull downs. We've got wide grip lat pull downs, neutral grip lat pull downs, and half kneeling one arm.
S tier. This is full blown S tier lat exercise. Your lats will blow up if you do this 3 times a week. Go near a failure and do that for 3 months straight. Your lats will be bigger. Point blank. Only way that would not happen is you're probably fucking up really, really badly. Like you're doing flaring out like this rather than going front. Whole point is going front like this, not flaring out. That is why you do close grip. I've seen people do close but like flaring out like that. Like, why are you doing close grip then? Like, you're just fucking up your forearm. The whole point is to keep your elbows front. That's how lats work. If you flare it out, lats not gonna work that much.
Lat pull downs. Wide grip lat pull downs offer a big stretch on your lats. They provide smooth, even tension throughout the range of motion. They feel great, plus you get to sit down, which is nice and steady.
Yeah, wide grip thing is like, it will work your teres major and minor a lot. It will work lats, but like that deep stretch at top, like if your elbow is in front, it is much better to do it. But then again, it's like one of those things like juggling, like what is mechanically best compared to what you can overload. So if you feel like you can overload much better with wide grip pull down, you should go with that. And like, it's just better because if pull down, you don't want to do back and forth a lot. And if you're close grip, you're gonna do back and forth a lot. So that's, I don't know, I don't feel great about that. So wide grip is just better because you're fixed in place, right? And if you're like really strong, like you can go really heavy with that one. Yeah, it's just kind of like better juggling trick than anything else.
Stable, and you get a fantastic combination of both lat and mid-trap activation, and you can easily overload them by increasing the pin weight. The wide grip pull down is our first exercise being awarded to S tier. Neutral grip pull downs have all the same upsides of wide grip pull downs, except they emphasize your lats over the mid traps, especially if you think about driving your elbows down. So they're also going in S tier. Half kneeling one arm lat pull downs are heralded.
The way he was doing it, like he was still flaring out a bit. And the way to stop is to sit a bit back and make sure your like elbow is properly in front. If the point of movement is close to your chest, you will always flare out. Doesn't matter how hard you try. So you have to like sit back. Then again, a machine could be a limitation. But in my gym, I have like what is that jungle thing? Right, something jungle. The red one, the big, like that has a lat pull machine. Like it, you can like attachment is in a way you can really sit back. So you can pull really from the front rather than have close to your chest. If it's very close to chest, your elbows will flare out. Like, it's not bad, but if you want to train your lats better, like it must be more like in front.
That is being oh so optimal online. So let's see how they do. High stretch, check. High tension,
This is really
check.
good outdone.
Good feel, at least for me, Check. And they're easy to overload. You can easily add a rep each week and then some weight as you get stronger. There is a little less stability here than on a pull-down machine. However, you can overcome that by bracing against your knee or against an incline bench. Plus, being able to focus on one lat at a time is great for preventing asymmetries. So while I'm tempted to put them in A tier, I'm going to be lenient and put them in S tier as well.
Okay, this is like one of those exercises that is a supplement. It's an addition. Again, like if you make any program, your heavyweight exercise that you overload properly should be weighted pull-ups if you can do it, or lat pull-downs, right? Proper machine rows, fine, even bent over barbell rows, but that like has a higher systemic fatigue. Your lower back, your legs are trying to stabilize. You can't pull that much because of that, and you get fatigue much higher. If your leg day is next day, that's going to be a problem. So if your machine is just better that way. So if you do a machine, it's my favorite. If you do machine rows, right? Yeah, these are heavyweight machine. Like you can really like, I can do like, I don't know, 200 plus kilograms for like 8 to 10 reps. Proper slow control, full stretch. I've noticed that blew up my back really heavy. Like my lats are properly blew up. Like that wasn't the case before. And more for in thickness than width. But yeah, thickness is important. People always like worry about the width a lot, that they forget about the thickness. If you don't have thick back, you won't look muscular from the distance. Even the V can look good, and sometimes the thick back will be visible all times. So if you want to look good, you need a thicker back, not just V, but thicker, right? So rows are awesome for that. So this type of thing, one singular thing, is like a third or fourth exercise you do to really get that out of lats, but it's not the exercise. You don't just do that and not do anything else, and you're like, oh, my back's gonna blow up. Probably not. You need overload element. You can't overload this that much.
Now, the crossbody lat pull around is a spin on the same movement where you twist your torso by 90 degrees so that you're pulling the cable across your body. This will increase the stretch on your lats even further. However, I find that despite the amazing stretch, a lot of people find the movement a bit awkward, especially at first, so I'm gonna leave these.
Yeah, it's awkward to think. Like there's many awkward movements that are like really scientific, but they are awkward. So yeah, maybe if you can do it, great. But like I said, it's an addition. People always get, like, there was a movement about like anti-science thing. Like, I don't know if it's still going or not. You're not anti-science. You're not just understanding it right. Nobody says you only do this shit, right? I don't understand what does that even means. What is an anti? If there is nothing but science, apart from science, your monkeys jumping from like branches to branches. What you mean anti-science? Even the bro science has some science behind it, but just outdated. That's bro science is just outdated science. That's what that is.
These in A tier. Okay, let's cover some of the most popular row variations. Up first, the barbell row. It stretches your back quite well, and it offers high tension. However, because it's not the most stable exercise, that tension will be dispersed to other stabilizing muscles like your calves, glutes, and low back just to keep balance. This isn't a huge deal. Your back will still get hammered, and you can still overload this.
Yeah, for years, I was doing a home gym. Like I wasn't going to the gym. And I had a barbell, I had a properly positioned pull-up bar, and I had a squat / bench press. That's it. And I relied on rows a lot, and like most of my muscle growth probably came from this barbell rows. But I still remember like how annoying and like fatiguing that was, and how it was awkward to get it right. But yeah, if you can get it right, it's like one of those like awesome moves that you can do, and it's like one of those things people are, you can flex in this move basically, because most people rely on some kind of like a machine and shit. So you can go to gym and just like lift this shit for like 120 kilos and just like pump those reps on. People are like, oh shit, I can't do that, because just people don't do this. There's a reason not to doing this, because there are better things to do. But yeah, you should never rely on one thing. Your central nervous system needs to be used to some things if you want to be more efficient. So you don't want to like cut out anything. This is where that trope comes from. Like muscular bubble muscle guy, but who's not strong. A weaker guy can fuck him up or something. This is probably like the guy only got jacked by, first of all, the thing and machines. So his central nervous system doesn't know how to do compound anything. So in real world scenarios, if you have to lift something or do any heavy movement, you can't, because your body is not used to it. Not because you're not strong. Cross section of the muscle always dictates more strength. So if you're bigger, you're stronger. But your central nervous system is just not used to it. So that's where the trope comes from. So you don't want to rely on something. Always do everything if you can, right? Every once a month or twice a month, do some heavy deadlift or barbell thing. right? Bent over row thing. Yeah, it's just better.
Movement from week to week, but I don't think it's the best row variation, and I don't even think it's the best barbell row variation. So the standard barbell row is going in B tier.
That one
The
properly
Yates
bent
row
over.
is basically just a barbell row with a more upright posture and with looser technique. Of course, it's named after bodybuilding legend and 6-time Mr. Olympia, Dorian Yates. While the looser form will help you load more weight, it doesn't...
No, not the Yates. So what is it? Meadows row? What is it called? Where you're like completely perpendicular, but like you just roll that way. You can't load that much, but it's better in some way. But you need certain attachment, otherwise you'll just hit the floor before you can get the stretch. So I'm not sure how good that is.
Actually guarantee more tension to your back muscles because of momentum coming from your hips. And the more upright posture actually reduces the stretch on your lats and mid traps. Sorry, Dorian, the Yates row is going in C tier. The Pendlay row is essentially the opposite of the Yates row. Instead of going more upright, you go more bent over. This is good because it places your lats under a higher degree of stretch and tension. It also allows for more consistent progression since your form is tighter. So, assuming you do them with a controlled negative, I think they belong in B tier. Although, I could easily nudge them into A tier if...
But the problem with this is like you probably need some plates or some attachment below your feet so you are above the ground. So when you go full stretch, your barbell is not hitting the floor. And the problem with that is like as a low back and like your hamstring and like every part of your body is kind of blowing up, trying to stabilize you because you're in athletic position, feet on the ground. It's just gonna add a systemic fatigue that you don't need to. So just do the machine rows. It's just better.
If we factor in strength development, they're just not quite stable enough as a pure hypertrophy exercise for my taste. So, yeah, they're gonna stay in B tier. The deficit Pendlay row is a Pendlay row where you stand on something like a bumper plate. This allows you to go deeper on the negative, meaning more stretch on your lats. I'm gonna put these in A tier. All right, the Meadows row, named after the late, great John Meadows, who is someone who taught me so much. So let's see. It stretches your back a ton.
I like that.
Absolutely smashes your mid-back with super high tension. And as long as you brace against your knee, you'll be nice and stable. The mid-back pump you'll get from these is unmatched. And as a bonus, you get to work on each side individually. This is definitely a personal favorite and easily belongs in S tier.
Yeah, this is stable. So it's fun to do. It's basically like a dumbbell row, but dumbbell is not stable. Like it's free weight. Like you can swing around in any direction. This kind of locks it in a way, like movement is kind of locked, so that's better if you want to load, right? That's how everything works. Dumbbells are great if you want to do certain movement with a stretch, but like it can move in any plane, so stabilizing is an issue, so you can't load that much. Barbell, you cut out one part of where it can move, so it's just up and down. It's not going to go left and right, so you can load more, but still you can still drop below and on top of you, right? So machines are completely locked. So you can go really heavy, but this is where the muscle damage comes from. You can go too heavy and muscles could pop. But yeah, machines are the best when it comes to hypertrophy. But yeah, it's a risk there.
For me. The inverted row is basically an upside down row where you pull your own body instead of pulling some weight. They offer a pretty amazing stretch at the bottom, and I can't lie, they feel pretty great too. If you set it up right, you should feel nice and locked in, and you should be able to feel a strong mind-muscle connection with your back. However, they're getting knocked down for progression. While you can have a training partner load some weight in your lap, this also makes the movement feel really awkward, for me at least, and then without the weight, you're stuck with doing super.
The weight sitting on your lap, I don't think it depends on how you move in certain way, if that weight's gonna matter or not. Like you need it on your chest if it's gonna work. Like on the lap, I don't know, man.
For high reps, which is fine, but it is suboptimal once you go above 30 or 40 reps. So despite some positive aspects, I'm gonna put inverted rows in C tier. One-arm dumbbell rows, the zombie corpse of Athlean X's exercise graveyard. Obviously, this exercise gets a bad rap online, but other than Athlean X, I've actually never heard another physiotherapist or exercise scientist express concerns about it.
Yeah, I remember watching that video where he said like he's gotten hernias from it. And yeah, and I see that, like, it's not wrong. It's an issue that if you, like, I've seen people doing that, and just starting a fucking engine type of shit. Like, if you're doing that, yeah, like, you're probably gonna get hernia there. Like, you don't want to do that. So if you fuck up the movement, yeah, you're gonna get hernia. So you need to be careful. But that applies to a lot of things. Even like one arm, like dumbbell curl, like arm curl. If you do it in a certain jiggly way, yeah, you're gonna give you hernia anyway.
I've been doing them myself and with clients for more than a decade without a single issue.
Yeah, you do it
let's
right.
See. They offer a big stretch on your lats at the bottom, and they feel nice, smooth, and stable. The main issue is, once your back gets decently strong, you may max out the dumbbell rack at your gym, which usually stops at 100 pounds. So if they're getting knocked down slightly for...
I think in my gym, what is it, like up to 60 kilos? So what is that? 140 plus pounds? Wait a minute, is that 80 kilos? Now I have to check that. I'm pretty sure there's also 80 kilos, right? Like I've done 50 kilos one like rows type of way. I remember doing that, like, yeah, but then again, there are machines and it's just easier to do machine than occupy a place, do a dumbbell row while people are around. So I just try to do machines. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there's more than that.
Progression, but I'm still gonna put them in A tier. The croc row is basically just a dumbbell row with looser form. So you use some leg drive and some momentum on the positive. Now, I'm normally not a fan of loose technique. However, where you're braced against the bench, the momentum here is actually more controlled and consistent than it normally is. Also, the momentum leans into the natural strength curve of the back quite well. It gives you some assistance.
People have issues of robotic movements. Like I've seen, like, no, it's just stiff, complete, like you can't do anything. No, this like, it depends on the moment. Like your body's supposed to move in certain way, even if it feels like a cheat rep. It depends on how much cheat it is. Like if you if you're jiggling a bit trying to do one arm dumbbell row, that's fine if it's just a bit. But if you get a deep stretch in the end, like probably stretch out and then do it, it's just better because you can move more weight than you would have. Imagine if you can do robotic movement with a 30 kilo dumbbell, but now you have 50 kilo dumbbell, which you can do same rep, but like you have to do jiggle a bit. But once you're up, you can slowly come down and stretch at the bottom, and then you're not doing too much jiggle where you get a hernia. But it's 50 kilos compared to 30. Like that's gonna matter. That's overload. Like you need to find a sweet spot between a heavy weight and a good form, and like close to good form, but a sweet spot in still a lot of movements, right? Trying to do robotic, you're not gonna overload. Like you're not gonna progress that fast. You're gonna take 6 months to grow muscle that you would have done like 3-4 months. This is my personal experience. This is what I found out.
And getting through the harder top half of the range while still offering a nice stretch at the bottom. I may get some flack for this from the technique junkies, but I'm putting croc rows in A tier. Okay, freestanding T-bar rows. Probably the most epic looking exercise, especially if you look like Ronnie Coleman. But the problem is, I just don't love them. They do give a nice stretch on your lats, and the tension that your back gets will be high.
I mean, I think it's more... The way Ronnie is doing, I think it's affecting his trap more than anything else. It's a sick movement because he's getting proper stretch at the bottom. So I guess scientifically it makes sense.
I just don't love them. They do give a nice stretch on your lats, and the tension that your back gets will be high. I just find them to be annoying. Balance can be an issue once you get decently strong, and the other end of the bar will often pop up if you don't have a landmine attachment. You can progress on them well by adding reps or load, but they're getting knocked down in the feels good department for me. I'm thinking C tier, but I'll go ahead and put them in B tier for Ronnie. Now, chest-supported rows give you all the positives of the freestanding T-bar row, but with a much more stable and secure feel. Having your chest supported allows you to focus all the tension to your back. These are an absolute staple and should 100% be included in your bodybuilding routine. If you don't have a chest-supported machine, you can do dumbbell Helms rows where you brace your chest against the back of an inclined bench. You can do these as T-bar rows or whatever machine helps you engage your back the best. Either way, chest-supported rows are going in S tier.
I think seated chest-supported rows are ultimate best thing you can do for your back compared to the lying down chest-supported one, right? Lying down one has an issue, like it will press against your chest in a way that it will have difficult breathing and things. And as soon as you encounter difficulty in anything, whether it's balance, not gripping something right, or just having your like lungs affected, your central nervous system will clamp down on how much force you can produce. So you won't be able to lift as much as you could have. Even with like barbell rows, you can do heavier. Seated chest supported rows, you can do much heavier compared to the lying one. And people just assume like, oh, it's probably hitting my back better than the other, so it's low weight. No, that's not the case. It's because you're decompressing your chest. That's what's happening. Seated one is still like fixed and properly attached that you can do heavy. It's still affecting the same way. It's still affecting your back the same way, but now you can do it with a heavier load, which will grow your back much faster. Depends on the people, but I'm pretty sure most people will find chest supported row much better. There are chest supported row machines that doesn't have such a great strength curve, but yeah, most one I've seen like has fine strength curve where like your like when you stretch under load, it's still gonna like have immense like effect on your back. But it's like at the lengthened position, it really pulls your back. Like sometimes like I'm worried like it might like really pull it off. Like that's how it feels. right? And you can load it up really fine. That's the best one you can use. Like it's the like pull downs, like heavy pull downs, great for your lats, and then heavy machine rows, great for your like traps, teres major, and overall like thickness of the backs and also lats as well. But lats are better worked with the pull downs than the rows.
Here for sure. Cable rows are another personal favorite. They may actually be the single best exercise that I know of for feeling a deep stretch on my lats, especially when I lean forward on the negative. They also give me a crazy lat pump, and you can always increase the reps or weight from week to week. These are going in S tier as well. Switching to a wide grip will shift some
emphasis. If you want stretch in your lat, this is how lat works. Completely up. This is where the full stretch position of the lat, completely down, that's contracted, right? So if you want full stretch, you want pull downs. If you're doing row, you're not doing row 100% for the lats. At that time, like lat stretch should not be your priority that much. Like you're trying to work the mid back and everything, like traps and everything like that. And yeah, that cable one is great. Like you should add that as well. But the seated machine row is just better. You add that because like you don't want central system to be used to too much isolating movements. Otherwise, when you need to use all your muscles to do something in real world, you won't be able to do it. You just add these things. It's good for your low back as well. Like it trains your low back, spinal erector, so it's just good in that way. Do it probably like I'm pretty sure I remember watching Mike Israel's video, like how you can use that row to properly work your spinal erectors by bending forward and everything. That's great. Like so far, like I think my spinal erectors were like a real weak point because spine were literally hurting a lot of times when I was like really really getting bulked up. Then I realized it's weak. That's the weakness. So I started doing those seated cable rows, but with the arched back when it's a stretch position, and then slowly coming back. Yeah, my spinal erectors are really strong now.
Emphasis to the mid traps, especially if you squeeze your shoulder blades together, but that's not a bad thing if that's what you're trying to target. And wide grip cable rows have all the same benefits of close grip cable rows, so they also belong in S tier. Speaking of your mid back, the rope face pull is a very popular option. It does stretch your mid back well, as long as you pull your shoulder blades apart on the negative, and you should be able to feel a strong mind-muscle connection with your entire mid back. The issue is they're a bit unstable when done the conventional way because the cable is always trying to pull your body forward, and so a lot of that tension is simply lost trying to keep your balance. For this reason, the standard rope face pull is going in B tier. However, if you modify the exercise to do it either lying on the floor or by doing them seated, you eliminate that balancing requirement, and you'll be able to overload them with much more tension being applied directly to your back. So I'm going to go ahead and put both.
Face pulls are one of those movements that you see in gym everyone doing for some reason because they think that's the best exercise for something. This is like one of the addition movement that you do. It's really good. Like it's important to do it. Like you'll feel the difference. But it's not the exercise you should be doing. Like there should be much heavyweight options, like I said. But people do this and like maybe sometimes do pull down. But this is always there. It's like okay. And yeah, it's like one of those movements that's unstable. Like you can't load up that much because there's no support there. Like I don't know.
Both of these variations in A tier. They're close to being in S tier, but just looking at the other exercises in S tier so far, I don't think face pulls are quite as amazing. Definitely still an exercise worth including though, for sure. The cable lat pullover or the lat.
The thing is, if you do like a row machine but with very wide like stance, elbows up, it will basically act like a face pull, but now you can really load it up, right? If you do it right. So face pulls, like I don't know, man.
Lat prayer offers a huge stretch on your lats as long as you bend forward on the negative, and you should be able to feel a strong mind-muscle connection with your lats. These are better done for higher reps, so they aren't as easily overloaded as some of the compound exercises we've covered, but you can always add a rep here and there, and the incredible mind-muscle connection and the deep stretch make up for it, in my opinion. That said, it's fairly common for people to feel their triceps taking over on this exercise, but once you get the hang of the movement and learn how to engage your
tricep will take over. Like it's like one of those things, like you need to get used to it. So what? It's fine.
Lats by simply driving your elbows down, I do think they're a great way to get.
See, the problem with this is like he's forcing the stretch. He's literally like bending down at the stretch position. Like I'm not sure like that's a good way to do stretch. You need to have like a stretch under load in a like a organic way rather than trying to force it. Better way to do it is like if you have a cable machine, have a chair, sit on a chair, put an extension that connects both sides of the cable machine with a bar, and now you hold the bar all the way from the back and pull in front and go all the way to back where it completely stretches your lat rather than like standing prayer things. It's the same movement, but this is much more stable. You can overload it and you're not forcing yourself to get the stretch. It's just organic.
Get some extra lat isolation volume without causing any total body fatigue. And so I'm gonna put cable lat prayers in A tier. Now, the dumbbell lat pullover is the same basic movement, except with the dumbbell, you have much more tension on your lats at the bottom and very little tension at the top. Now, this isn't such a bad thing though, because the stretch is most likely the most anabolic part of the range of motion anyway. So as long as you cut out the...
Yeah, you can do that, but I always feel awkward with this one, like bench and trying to stabilize. Like I said, like in front of cable machines, sitting down on a chair, doing it that way is much better. But then again, like people have problem with access to cable machine, then yeah, dumbbell is great.
The very top end of the range of motion, I'd also put these in A tier. So out of the S tier list, if I had to crown just one exercise as the best of the best, I think I'd go with a chest supported row.
Ah, my man.
It's just so good for smashing both the lats and the mid back.
There's
so many effective ways to do it. And if I had to pick one exercise as the worst of the worst, it'd probably be the renegade row. As a hypertrophy exercise, there's just not enough stability to maximize tension. And if you're looking to put all this information to use with a science-based program that you can just go to the gym and execute.
Yeah, like Jeff, like always, like great information. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was attacked recently for some reason. Again, that probably kicked off the attack against science-based lifting, for sure. Roided out 6 plus fruit guys. Some are saying Jeff Nippard doesn't know what he's saying. Just because you have a higher height and you just like injected something and just got thicker doesn't mean you know better than the Jeff Nippard, who has a PhD for the love of God. There's a reason you call them doctor. Put respect on their fucking name. PhDs are not a joke, man. I feel weird that world is kind of disrespecting what a PhD means. Like, really? You need people like that because most people are not that. Like, respect them, like, cherish them while you have them. Because I can also imagine a world where people just don't give a fuck, education system collapses, and nobody gets a PhD. You don't want to live in that world. Alright, well, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.